Hey everyone, One Spitting here at the Battle Report. So for the second game in a row, I brought out my Bretonnians, this time versus a Vampire Count's army. 2,500 points is normal. We decided just to do a pitched battle. Let's see, starting on the far left, he's got a Vargolf, unit of hounds, some Crypt Ghouls, 20 of them, I believe. He's got some Spirit Host, a big bunker of, or a bus formation of skeletons. So they've got a sword and board, and a vampire general. I don't remember the specifics of all he has and combined with that unit, but basically he doesn't get the always strikes first because he's hoping for the corpse cart to grant him that. But he's got +2 strength, red fury, and I know I think he has something where I can't reroll leadership tests, and I think the unit has a banner that gives me -1 leadership, and maybe those are swapped, but it's something like that. The black coach model is actually a Mortis engine. Then he's got a huge unit of Crypt Whores being proxied by ogres. Just an absolutely huge unit of Crypt Whores. So they get 5-up regen, and then because of the Mortis engine, they're almost always going to be at a 4-up regen. So toughness 5, 4-up regen is brutal. There's a corpse cart behind it, and the unit of zombies to the right. You can see one of his necromancers behind the second file of ogres. That is his level 2 with Shadow. I know he has Occams on that one. That's a big concern. He has a level 4, and I'm just not seeing him at the moment, but he's around there somewhere. On the far right, he has some dogs. I've got some bowmen, some fast cav, and then for some reason I skipped all the way to the left, so I've got 4 peg knights. So this list I brought has very little magic. I have 2 Bretonnian Lord fighty characters. This one has Virtue of Audacity, so against anything Strength 5 or better, he gets to re-roll his to hit and his to wound rolls. He has the Grommel Great Helm, so he has a 1-up rerollable armor save, and of course he has the 6-up, 5-up ward save. And then in the list, I gave him the Sword of Heroes, and what that does is if you're Toughness 5 or better, he gets +1 Strength, so it'd be Strength 5, and every wound is D3 wounds. But the problem is, I left my list at home, and so I was going by memory. And I remembered I thought I gave him a magic sword, but I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to take the chance. I mean, it was funny. I was texting my son, like, "Are you home? Can you get on the computer?" But anyway, so he's playing as if he just has a lance. There's a trebuchet, getting a Knights Errant with the Errantry banner, then 2 units of Knights of the Realm. The middle Knight unit there has 2 of my characters. It's got my BSB, it's got a 1-up rerollable, and it has my Heroic Killing Blow Lord. Heartwood Lance allows him to reroll rolls to wound. Trust of Soul means 1 use only. He can hit anything on a 2. And I think he has a Dragonbane gem too. I just didn't include it. Behind him, I've got a bunker of men-at-arms with spears because I built those a couple years ago and I never use them. And they actually started 20 strong, and then I just needed the points elsewhere. They're bunkering a level 2 damsel with beasts. I've got a horde of, I believe, 67 men-at-arms. And then you've already seen my right side, fast cav and bowman. So, Vanguard on the left. Vanguards on the right, and of course he gets to go first. In all honesty, I just don't know how to deal with this list. In hindsight, I have some ideas of how I would approach it. The way I thought I would do it is, obviously, I was going to put the 2 Bretonnian Lords in with the same bus and have 3 characters in there. I thought instead that I would use the Peg Knights to take care of the dogs on the left and get either behind his lines or have them engage the Crypt Ghouls. Hopefully be able to take care of them fast enough just to threaten his back line. He's got a couple necromancers back there, his other things, the Mortis engine and stuff. And I was going to use the Bretonnian Lord over there to take care of the Vargolf, hopefully fairly quickly, and then turn and engage with a skeleton unit with his general. And I think that Bretonnian Lord has the best chance of killing his general. My Heroic Killing Blow Lord, I really don't think can, because the vampire gets to go first, and I think he'll do more than 3 wounds, because all I have is a 2-up armor, so it goes to a 6-up armor, and then I would have a 5-up ward, and I think my Heroic Killing Blow Lord would die. But the Green Knight model has a 1-up rerollable, so I have a 5-up, 5-up, and then a 5-up. And if he survives it, I get to reroll all my hits, reroll all my wounds, and successful wounds do 3. So that's kind of what I was thinking there. Anyway, he doesn't move up too awful much. He grows some ghouls, or some zombies, and we go to Bretonnian turn 1. So I go ahead and move the men-at-arms up on the right because I need them to be able to help later on, and they don't move as much. So I'm moving them up. The Crypt Whores can make the charge. If they do, they're going to be away from the rest of his units and unsupported, and they're going to make a mess of those men-at-arms, but the men-at-arms will be steadfast, and then I figure I could do a double counter, or probably just a double counter charge into their flank. So I don't think he's going to take the bait there, but all in all, I like my position there. On the left, I take the Peg Knights into his dogs. This is, for some reason, my flash turned on, and that's how it looks. I think that's just funny, but that's how it normally looks. So the way this is going to work, I'll easily beat the dogs, and I'll overrun, and that will make me hit the ghouls, and then I'll just count as charging them. And I think, their poison scares me, actually, because my armor save is only 3 up, and enough wounds will go through. But for the most part, I like the auto-hit stomps. I think the Peg Knights, in a couple rounds of combat, can take care of them, and then I'm kind of behind his lines and can do a lot of damage. So I like how that's working out. After combat, yeah, I easily beat him and overrun. We go to Vampire's turn 2. So the Spirit Host just kind of traipses right through that building and pops out the other side. This is where it was critical that I didn't know whether or not I had a magic weapon on my Green Knight model. That would have been nice to know. Otherwise, he decides just to sit back, and I was actually very comfortable with that because neither one of us have a ton of ranged weapons, but I do have a trebuchet. And so far, it's scattered off on turn 1, but he's got his stuff bunched together. I love the idea of the treb hitting his cryptors once or twice before I get into combat with him. Let's see on the right, I had tried to charge his dogs with my yeoman last time. I failed. This time he countercharges me, so I think he has the odds of winning that one. And over here, he really surprised me. Instead of bringing his Vargulf up, he pulled him back to make sure that he could deal with the Peg Knights. And in hindsight, I think that was a great move. Just kind of a patient, you don't have to rush forward with everything. No matter what happens, his Crypt Ghouls are going to stick. They're going to hold my Peg Knights up, and then his Vargulf can countercharge, and he's guaranteed to win it. I think it was a very, very smart move on his part. To show how worried he was about it, during the magic phase, he threw a lot of dice at Occam's Mindrazor on those Crypt Ghouls. So now my Peg Knights are toast. Now he doesn't need the Vargulf because they now have... Well, I take that back. Yeah, they have the General's leadership because we're playing with the same... Yeah, they have the General's leadership. So there's strength 9, maybe strength 10, whatever vampire count the Lord level leadership is. So they're going to rip through my Peg Knights. That was unfortunate. His level 2 Eerie Caster's Irresistible Force lost both 2 magic levels and only had 2, so I no longer have to worry about Occam's Mindrazor, and that was my big concern with the Cryptors, is there are so many attacks anyway, but at least they're strength 4, but with the threat of Occam's, that just gets crazy, so at least that threat is gone. After combat, can you believe it? That's all he was able to do. He did, 5 wounds total? Absolutely crazy, I couldn't believe it. But I guess, I don't know, I guess he had to hit me. And then he could roll 1s to wound, and then I had a 5 up board save, so maybe that is what the odds should have been. It doesn't matter. He's going to kill the rest of my guys on his turn. Over here on the right, yeah, I was kind of surprised. He charged in. He did a wound. I did a wound. He wins. I'm on leadership 6 with him winning combat because he won by a charge. I'm on leadership 5, and my guy's stuck. Who would have thunk it? I never would have guessed that would happen. So we stick around there. We go to Bretonnia turn 2. Yeah, so one disappointing thing that happened, I was trying to charge my Knights Errant into a Spirit Host because I would have a charge, a banner, and 3 ranks, maybe only 2 ranks if I lose some wounds in the woods through dangerous terrain. And I don't think the Spirit Host is going to get any wounds off on my guys, and I can just pop that thing through combat res and then reform just horizontally. And then as Vargulf wants to charge them to the flank, he's welcome to do it. I would like my positioning there. But the Knights Errant failed to charge. Otherwise, really just keep the Men-at-Arms where they were. Again, I just want them to be available for things. I'm not worried about his Crypt Ghouls charging them. I kind of envision getting double charges with my Night Buses into his Cryptors. The problem there is no matter what happens, I'm not going to pop him. He's gonna stick. And then I can't have his Vampire Lord in that bus countercharging in the flank. What I wasn't thinking about at the time is that if I had moved up and I did charge him, the skeletons couldn't countercharge in the flank because they'd be blocked because of the building. But he could have charged with his zombies. I'm not sure that would be the end of the world either. I just wouldn't be steadfast. So anyway, what I did was just played the distance game. I know I have him outranged. In terms of my charge distance, I have a trebuchet. Still hoping to maybe pick off some supports and weaken them before we get into combat. There's that failed charge. The bowmen come in to see if they can help out the brothers. And yeah, during the shooting, my trebuchet misfires. It's still there, but didn't hit anything. And the crypt ghouls take care of the peg knights. That wasn't a surprise. And over here, yeah, I mean, we all kind of stick. I think I won by one, and he lost an extra dog. And for the most part, we're right there. Now, the one thing that's really bad about this is my bowmen have braziers, and so I kind of want them shooting at the cryptors, doing a wound, taking off regen. So then, if my trebuchet hits, it can do a lot more damage. But I have to get rid of these dogs, and my fast cav weren't going to be able to do it by themselves. Vampire Count's turn 3. Again, he doesn't move up aggressively. He does try to charge the Spirit Host into my Green Knight model. It's not the Green Knight. And he failed it. And again, I didn't know I had a magic sword, so that would have been a real hassle. I was very glad that he failed it. Otherwise, he's just kind of hanging back. During the magic phase, he grows. So the Peg Knight's sacrifice is doing nothing because he's growing back the Crypt Ghouls. And over here, the fight, these peasants can't fight with a darn. So that carries on as it was. We go to Bretonnian's turn 3. So this time, the Knights Errant do decide to make their charge. Of course, I failed 2 dangerous terrain tests, which probably about odds. The Bretonnian Lord on the left tried to charge the Vargulf, see if that plan could still work, and failed the charge. Otherwise, now I'm getting aggressive with my knights. I'm putting him up to where he needs to roll really high to make the charge against me, and now I can charge him, and it's not going to be that awful difficult to do. I take my damsel out of the bunker unit because he really doesn't have any ranged threats I'm worried about. And I need her close. I think the spell she has is the Savage Beast of Horror spell and the +1 Strength and Toughness spell. So there's that failed charge. Darn it. That would have been nice. I probably, if I won it, I probably would have had to run off the board, though, to avoid getting countercharged by his Crypt Ghouls. And over here, we finally decide to kill the dogs and just reform. And the trebuchet scatters off, does nothing. Knights Errant kill the Spirit Host. There was a tough decision how to reform because the Vargulf and the skeleton unit, one of them was going to be in my flank. I decided to offer my flank to the Vargulf. I'm not going to be steadfast in the woods, which sucks. So now the magic happens. Cryptors charge the men-at-arms. This is where I was kicking myself for not giving the prayer icon of Cornelis so they would have a ward save, because them having a ward save can really help in instances like this. Nevertheless, they're there, and then his general and skeletons charge my Knights Errant. So I'm actually, and his Vargulf charges the Green Knight. So I think the Green Knight can kill the Vargulf. Or at least over time he will. I think the Vargulf at Strength 5 is going to have a hard time getting past my 1-up rerollable and then my ward save. I think his general is going to make a mess of my Knights Errant. I'm going to lose combat, and I should get away with those Knights, and then I should be able to countercharge with both of my big Knight buses. He'll either have to reform to face me, or risk that he doesn't roll very far and I get a juicy charge into his flank. So the big thing there is I need my Green Knight model Lord to be available to help in that combat so he can get a challenge with the Vampire Count's Lord. He's got the best shot of killing him, and I like his odds of killing him. So there's that. There's that charge. And there's going to be a lot of dead men-at-arms body. That is, oh my gosh, 16 times what, 3? 48 attacks plus stomps. And then when I go to wound him, he's at a 4-up because he started near the Mortis engine. So he's toughness 5, I'm strength 4, so it's 5s to wounds, and then he saves on a 4-up. I mean, that is a very one-sided battle. So when we went to the magic phase, the only thing I cared about was stopping Raised Dead. He was regrowing Crypt Ghouls. He was doing anything he wanted. I think re-rolling wounds on his Skeleton Knight unit. I didn't care. I'm like, that's fine. You can kill the Knights Errant. You just can't cast Raised Dead. So his last 6 dice, he threw at Raised Dead. I threw 6 dice to stop it. He has a level 3. I have a level 2. And sure enough, he gets it by 1. And I'd already used my scroll on something that, in hindsight, was not worth it, because this is absolutely huge. Um, yeah, absolutely, absolutely freaking huge. So there's that. I think the Crypt Ghouls are just more of them getting made. After combat, yeah, he kills, I don't know, 15, 20. Let's see, I have 45. I started with 67, so 22 men at arms. I killed one of his. Yeah, that's a little bit one-sided. And then over here, it didn't surprise me that he made a mess. I accepted a challenge with my champion, so he was going to win combat, but I would still have most of the unit left. I wasn't going to be steadfast. I was pretty sure I'd break, but I was pretty sure I would get away. But of course, skeletons on foot run down the knights errant with swift stride. Um, yeah, the Vargolf doesn't do any wounds to my Bretonnian lord. I do one wound to him, and then I think it's just a push because he had a charge and I had a wound. And I think I reformed after this picture. Or maybe I didn't. So, Bretonnian turn 4. Yeah, it's just disappointing. So, I charged my unit with 2 characters into the unit of zombies. They look like skeletons, they're zombies, just to get rid of them. And then all I can do is just slightly reform the other unit so I can hopefully get a charge next time there. That's going to be just really awkward. No doubt about it. Yeah, sucks. Oh, that was just killer. So during the magic phase, I got +1 strength and toughness off on the men at arms. Hoping that'll help. I'm toughness 4 to his strength 4, and I'm strength 5 to his toughness 5. And this, at least starting next combat round, he'll only have a 5 up instead of a 4 up. To get that, though, I cast Irresistible Force and killed a couple knights. And over here, so yeah, this time I do another wound to the Vargolf. He does none to me. I win by 1, so he takes a 3rd wound. So he's down to, I think, 1 wound remaining. I go ahead and offer him my flank because I didn't want, if his Vampire Lord comes in, I just didn't want him charging the front. I figure if I'm going to kill the Vargolf, if I'm either going to die to the Vampire Lord or I'm going to win, and that'll pop the Vargolf anyway. So, yeah, probably in hindsight. Also didn't want to take the chance that he could charge with the whole unit. So, another reason why I did that. After combat, the strength and toughness buffs made very little difference. I think I did do more wounds, so instead of killing 1 guy, I killed 2 guys. So I guess that did help. Plus, I just rolled awful that first round. He just killed just a ton of my guys, and that's the problem. Like, even if I did get the counter charge, he gets so much combat res for the men at arms that until they all die, I'm not going to win combat. After combat here, I have to do a funky reform with my Knights of the Realm because otherwise there was no way I was going to be able to see anything. So it looks like that. Vampire counts turn 5. So he just reforms his skeleton unit to face my guys. I mean, that unit is going to pop in forever. And I don't have a character there that can really do much. I really need to kill the Vargolf this turn and charge in with my Green Knight model as well as my other knights just to even have a chance at it. By the way, you can tell I don't mention the trebuchet hitting anything because it doesn't. It keeps on scattering off everywhere. Yeah, there's that. And yeah, the men at arms finally weren't steadfast, but that was okay because I just needed him to not pursue him too far so I could get a counter charge. And he rolled a 7, and he was just barely out of my line of sight. I needed him to roll a 6. That would have been a tough charge to make, but I think if I charge my left unit first, then it's easy to move up and then do a 90-degree wheel, and I would have had a rear charge on that unit, which would have been really nice, but he rolled a 7. I mean, that's not insanely high, but that was certainly too high to do any good. So I just have to reform those guys again. I'm in such a mess. My general's unit goes and charges the skeletons. Yeah, I mean, I kind of want my heroic killing blow lord to get a challenge with this general. I issue a challenge, and he accepts this champion. So that means that his vampire lord can only hit my champion, which was nice. I think if I were him, I would have accepted because I do think the vampire lord kills my Bretonnian lord before I get to swing almost every time. The danger is that if it just takes that unlucky roll and you lose your vampire lord. So there's that. You notice I think he healed a wound on his Vargolf. That was somewhat frustrating. Not sure what I'm showing there. And after combat, Yeah, so I finally kill the Vargolf, so that's kind of nice. He kills my champion with his lord. Otherwise, nothing really happens. I think I kill his champion with my lord. The rest of my knight, I want you to look at all those knights charging in. I fail my fear test because he's got that combo to where you can't re-roll it and you're -1, so I needed an 8, and you're going to fail that sometimes. I think I killed 4 skeletons. Like, that's my knights on the charge. If I can't kill more than 4 skeletons, yeah. Yeah. Beginning of Vampire Counts turn 6, the Mortis Engine does its blast thing and gives regen to everything around, kills my... I think it kills a knight and kills my fast cav in the process. Then he charges in the Mortis Engine and the Crypt Ghouls into the one combat. He reforms into ranks with his Cryptors. That makes that a little bit less appealing to charge into. That's not good. The only thing I've going for me here again is he's almost certainly going to win combat. I'm not going to be steadfast. I'm going to take the challenge with my battle standard bearer because I think I'm going to break anyway, and if when I break he's going to die. So that's fine. I'll just see if he can survive. He has a chance of surviving with his 1-up rerollable. And then during the magic phase, he gets raised dead up again and parks them right in front of the Green Knight model. So now, if we do stick around, the Green Knight can't charge in and help out. So after combat, he wins, and I'm thinking, that's not great, but at least I'm Swift Stride, I'll get away, and that doesn't work. Skeletons on foot are chasing down my knights. I swear. So he catches my general, kills my BSB. The general, his Vampire Count Lord, actually only did 1 wound to my BSB, but then because of Red Fury, he got that 1 extra attack, and that got the 2nd wound on him. Anyway, at this point, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, so he overruns. He rolls an 11 and charges the flank of the unit that was set up to charge his Cryptors. God. Which doesn't matter. My guys weren't going to kill all the Cryptors anyway, but still, insult to injury. And then, of course, on my turn, we fight that out, and he wins. And again, for the 3rd time this game, my knights don't get away. With Swift Stride, they get caught by the skeletons on foot. I don't know what to do about that. So, and the Green Knight model is where he is because he failed his panic test a while ago, but then he rallied. That game just turned everywhere at the end. But I think I just really didn't have a good strategy going into it. I think what I should have done is I should have put the Green Knight in with the character bus and just rammed it down the throat of his general's unit, gotten a challenge with the Green Knight and his general, and just forced it. I have a decent chance of killing him, and then everything changes on his side. I really didn't have a good solution for that huge unit of Cryptors. Bretonnians rely on breaking things in the charge, and the big huge bus of skeletons and that mega unit of Cryptors aren't going to break anytime soon. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's been too long since I played Bretonnia. I don't know if I'm getting rusty or if that was just an unlucky game or what, but anyway, that's it for the game. Hope you enjoyed it.